with the maturation level of and the fragmentation. So there's tons more channels, and this is a maturing ecosystem here in the U.S. Although it's from pure aggregate revenue model going to be the biggest market in FAST out there. But and Philippe mentioned this, which is not only looking at FAST but also looking at YouTube and other platforms. As you see this market mature as it is, and you look at things like social video and digital video growing astronomically, whereas AVOD and FAST, while it's growing very quickly, there is a kind of cap to the total addressable market there. How are you changing your strategies? Whether this is distribution, programming, marketing, to address a maturing market here in the US? Are you changing, for example, I'm seeing a tremendous number of these platforms adding on demand. And so does on demand become equally important to you on a platform like Pluto or Samsung or Roku, who are all seemingly kind of growing their on demand arena? Do marketing tactics change? Do you window differently between YouTube and FAST, or simultaneously do you look at them as kind of co-equal spokes off the same hub? I'll throw this open to you, Cameron, if you want to take it first, since it's been a minute since you answered the last question. How are you, and you don't have to use the examples I used, but how are you evolving? How are you adapting your business? I mean, we started off by saying you guys were innovators and early movers in FAST. So, how are you emulating that early mover advantage? How are you emulating that innovation cycle in your business now that you see kind of the changing nature of the ecosystem take hold?
Yeah, I mean, the principles are still the same. Like, to be successful in FAST or in a media business, one, you have to build brand equity. Like, there's so much choice out there. We love the idea of choice. We want choice, but your brands have to mean something. I think part of the challenge that the FAST space had and still has is there's a bunch of channels that look exactly the same on a bunch of platforms, and that doesn't create a great experience for everybody. And it makes it harder for you to stand out. So, for us, it's really continuing to build the brands, invest in the programming, build our presence in a variety of different places. I think I mentioned early on, we have tens of millions of people that pay us subscriptions in print. We have tens of millions of people that come to our websites every single month. We do billions of views on all the different social platforms. That sort of recognition. So when people land on Pack Collective or Fail Army or at home on FAST, they're like, I know what this brand is, right? Now, a big differentiator is we're not just taking the content that we have on these different platforms and slapping it on the FAST. I mean, we built out a team. Our entire team comes from television. We're building television shows, television formats, talent-driven, high production value. So you have to create a different experience there. And then you have to figure out how to pay for all this, right? Part of that is packaging. Right. Packaging, working with brands like Philippe said, providing something different. We're doing really big deals with folks like Toyota and KitchenAid, where we're helping them reach audiences in a variety of different ways. And going forward, we want to lean into that. The challenge is, one of the things we should probably talk about as an example is data. In order to really do this the right way, you need as much data as possible. Part of what we're talking about in the ISA, we talk about measurement and other things. Look, if the platforms want to grow, they need better programming. They need programming that fits FAST. They want us to be the ones investing in it because a lot of those platforms aren't content producers. We need the data to produce better programming. We need the data to be able to sell more advertising at a higher rate. It will only help them. Yet, we have a bunch of situations where we're not getting access to that data. Sometimes it's because of privacy. We're, of course, all very sensitive to privacy, but it's not mutually exclusive. So, I'm sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here, but you see
That's
where
okay.
I'm coming from in terms of how we're differentiating, how we're trying to, build a bigger business, and we just all need to work together to build a healthier ecosystem.
Yeah, I'll throw the same.
We're working on,
go ahead, Chris.
We're working on 4 different co-productions with 4 different platforms, because to Cameron's point, they're all at some point saying to themselves, geez, we got all the same channels the other guys. How do we distinguish ourselves, right? What's old is new again. And, before launching Gusto, I was making television shows for other broadcasters for, years. And, you do co-productions between broadcasters, right? So you do a UK-US co-production. Now it's with platforms.
So
Instead of
just to clarify, so you're making different shows for different distribution partners that would air on your channels on their platforms?
So we're making shows. Doesn't
Yes.
matter, I'm making shows. So if there's a show that resonates with a particular platform partner, we co-produce it, we split the costs, we leverage Canadian tax credits. So now we're making a show for 30 cents on the dollar each. In some cases, we first window it on their O&O, and then second window it on Gusto, because I'm making shows anyway. So we have new content coming down.
So, and it helps that platform partner differentiate
distinguish
themselves a little
itself
bit.
from the other ones.
What
So-
you're hearing is as we talked about at the beginning, here are the innovators re-innovating the windowing model, right? Like going back to tactics that, like Chris said, are not necessarily brand new in the grand history of Hollywood, but certainly have not really been talked about much in an era when everyone, when certainly the big media companies were all trying to land grab their piece of a streaming pie. Tastemade is no different. You know, we think of that as well on the co-production side. We're also thinking about it on the back end. I have now hundreds of episodes of shows, and I'm getting incoming calls to syndicate those series. And it's caused us to think about, okay, how can we rethink? We thought for a long time, we got to hold on to all these rights. It justifies our branding. And now we're thinking, okay, can we extend our brand through this? This stuff is sitting on our balance sheet. Can we generate income from it in ways that benefits us and then hopefully leads people back to us? To that point, I do think that AVOD and other distribution models become incredibly important to the future of this, especially on the discoverability side. If you want to see the future of what a channel looks like, we're used to a channel from the old school days being just something that shows up on the EPG. A channel from the social media days is a YouTube channel. I highly recommend everyone spend some time looking at those YouTube channels that have primetime channels in them. The NFL is obviously the big one. There are many others, including Tastemade, that have a primetime channel on there. This is what a channel looks like in the future. It is a branded page with free and paywalled content. It has short form and mid form content that's distributed in various different ways. It's merchandised in such a way to clearly lead you into a paid experience, but you can consume that content whichever way you want. The key to that, like Cameron was saying, you are familiar with the brand and you're coming there to be able to interpret, to consume from that brand.